Welcome back to the World Championships of Warhammer. We're in the 5th round. We have a marquee Canada versus USA matchup for which Mike and I have no preference on the outcome.
Unbiased reporters. We're going to be as neutral as possible here.
Yep.
Only one of these nations is the greatest in the world, and we all are going to find out who it is.
Yeah.
I don't have any bias, any preference.
It could be any nation, really.
Really could.
Hard to say. We have for you 2 warbands that we have not seen yet before on the stream. We've got Graham from Canada. He's bringing Khagra's Ravagers. We've got we have Graham from Canada is bringing Grymwatch, and we have Zack who is bringing Khagra's Ravagers. Those pairings, what do we got?
So Zack with Khagra's Ravagers is playing Emberstone Sentinels as well as Pillage and Plunder. So lots of token occupancy with a little bit of possibly flipping those tokens around. And then Graham from Canada will be playing Emberstone Sentinels as well. No, I apologize. Graham is playing Pillage and Plunder as well, but he is playing Countdown to Cataclysm as his other deck. So they will both be doing some delving of tokens. They will both be fighting over those tokens, but there will be different scoring conditions with some overlap. You haven't had access to these warbands before, so we'll talk a little about what they do. Khagra's Ravagers is one that you may be familiar with from the old version of the game. They operate under a desecration mechanic. Fighter kills someone while on, or kills someone who is on a token, it is desecrated. And also, if a fighter is on a token, it'll desecrate. Now that desecration happens in the power step in place of playing a card. And very importantly, desecration lasts until that token is flipped.
Yeah.
If you have 2 at the end of the round, all your fighters inspire. Knowing that Graham is going to want to get onto and flip those tokens is going to change a lot of how that shapes out to be inspiration-wise. But Khagra's has seen a significant improvement in their inspiration condition, which fans of the warband will love. How does the Grymwatch look?
So the Grymwatch, they retain a lot of their flavor. They're clearly a hold warband, and they have that unique ability to bring people back in any edge hex, including in enemy territory. That's something that's in the name of the king. That's going to happen in the power step. That one is a repeatable power. It's a once per round. In the name of the king, once per battle round. If your leader is on the battlefield, you can use one of the following abilities. Pick a friendly fighter, inspire that fighter. Pick a slain friendly fighter, raise them, and place them in an empty edge hex. If you're the underdog, do both.
That's a great ability to both bring someone back and inspire. But notably, the warband also does inspire with the "Are there guys in my territory" condition we had before. A little bit updated, though.
After the last action step in a battle round, pick up to X friendly fighters, where X is the combined bounty characteristics of slain enemy fighters and enemy fighters in enemy and neutral territory. Inspire those friendly fighters.
So you can potentially inspire part of your warband without doing it all, which is much different than they used to be, where it was all or none. So we can expect to probably see both warbands expire significant portions of their team throughout this match. But the real question is going to be how much delving goes on, and do you delve to a feature, or do you delve when it is a treasure token?
Right.
So that's going to change a lot of the scoring here. But there's definitely going to be a lot of positional play here. Worth noting, both warbands, while being take and hold archetypes, have substantial offensive output. Both players so far in this tournament have slain powerful fighters and won matches against other strike teams by outstriking them on occasion. So don't expect this to just be a lot of move tokens. There'll be plenty of attack dice going on.
One challenging thing with BCP right now is the standings are hidden, and so we have to kind of do a little bit of homework to figure out what their rankings are, where they've been. But Graham also piloted Grymwatch back where he earned his ticket here, and that was at Nova. He was up on the final table, faced off against Gerard. I would take it back. He was facing Gerard. He already had a ticket, so he earned a ticket somewhere else, but he got all the way to the final table. Funny looking trees. So yeah, sorry, Joseph. We are still looking to get those folks on. We got a number of other games, and Skylar and G are 2 strong pilots. We're hoping they maintain, and hopefully we can get you a glimpse at them coming up. We're still looking to show them because
we do have one more pools match tomorrow. So regardless of who makes what cut, and there is the potential based on what happens that we may dive into the nationals bracket and not spend the whole time in the competitive tier for the rest of the tournament. We'll yet to see. But regardless, those waiting on Iltharis will be able to see that advanced content tomorrow. So don't wait too long. It'll be there.
So we've seen everyone but Khagra come down for the Ravagers. We've seen let's see. Oh, I should also, and the notable thing about the raised fighters, it can be anybody. It's not just, we used to only bring the crypt ghouls back. It's any of the fighters.
Any of the fighters, including the bats even. They all
Including
can
the
come
bats.
back as long as Crack Marrow is alive, it can happen.
Including Gristlewell, and Gristlewell starts on 3 damage.
Yes, he does.
Not very accurate, 2 swords, which is a Hail Mary, but get an Inspire in there or get some boosts, and he's causing some damage. We got the roll-off. Well, they have some very similar looking dice. Is going to make it interesting for us.
Those are their attack dice, to be fair, so only one will roll at a time, but it may be a little harder to see who's doing what when things come down to it.
Zack is actually digging out some other colored dice.
Yeah, red for America, not for Canada. No one cares for those guys.
Just as a reminder, totally impassive back here. We have initial charge. We're getting on the treasure tokens right away. And delving right away.
The Herald has already delved.
Yep.
We know Graham wants to delve. He's talked to me a little bit about his progress through the tournament before. He does have several delving-related things in his deck. So he cares about getting those tokens flipped over, which notably is going to prevent some desecration because they must be treasure to be desecrated.
Yep. He also operates under the idea that his ghouls are going to get hit because they're defending on just the 1 dice, just 1 dodge. So who cares if I'm staggered? You can have your reroll.
I'm going to die anyway, so
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I might as well score some glory while I do it.
Anytime you're killing me, you're not taking these tokens. So.
And then once he starts bringing them back, then they're coming back and they're only worth 0. They're still making some things happen for him. Zarshia flying in. Zarshia, notable because she has popped herself up to 4 health now.
Yes, she's on 1 dodge now, but she is a 4 health fighter.
Yep.
Still only giving up 1 bounty, so relatively easy to risk piece. And so Zack can play aggressively with her, as we're seeing here. Zarshia throwing, I believe, 3 swords for this attack.
We'll double check. That is not 3 swords.
Zack placing Wary Delver out to put Zarshia on guard, so that 1 dodge now significantly improved to 1 guard. And also notable, cannot be taken off the token.
So Zarshia's got a chance to desecrate right away there. That means he only needs 1 more desecration. Let's see what he uses for desecration counters, actually.
Another important thing to note, prior to this, Khagra and Zarshia did not have the despoil ability.
Yep.
But now they do. So every fighter in the warband can desecrate, and you don't have to play favorites.
Yep. And as a reminder, that that desecration that comes from Raised Realm is one way to do it, and that's once per power step. So they can really churn out a lot of those.
Really can. Now, if Graham ends up taking that token away somehow, say through confusion, and then flips it, it will be undesecrated. And he has to maintain 2 desecrations into the end phase if he wants to inspire.
We'll give a nod to Aaron Cayo. We'll make sure the cut and the attire gets shown off, but we got to keep the action on the game for right now. And also want to give a shout out to Matt M's Underworlds Club that he's running out there down in New Zealand. Sounds like you guys got to tune in the other day, and hope you get a chance to do so again, if not live, because who knows? It's probably like
it's got to be the middle of the night for them now.
Far future over
there.
This
is a recorded stream. They'll have the access to it once it is published afterward. I believe that looks like a Beastgrave gift set.
Yeah. Wow.
I think
token
that is
flex.
You know what that is? That's a madness counter from the Grip of Madness upgrade from the original Grymwatch warband.
Oh my goodness!
Strange that he's using that, but
I'm gonna I will see what the stream thinks, what the commentators think, or not comment. We're the commentators. We'll see what the comments in the section think. I think that's actually a desecration token.
Is it? Maybe.
Yep.
You know, not, no. Well, maybe. We'll see. Ah, come on, Battle Mallet.
Yeah, Battle Mallet.
Man, how many times can I be wrong this weekend? We're about to find out.
Let's see. We've missed an attack here. More delving happening. I think he must be going for the 3 delves here. There it is.
Yeah, 3 delves doesn't care which tokens it was. However, the delving of 3 separate tokens for the end phase does care about them being 3 separate, and they must have been treasure when they were flipped.
Right. The other way to score that is one that was held, a treasure that was held by the enemy. Obviously, unable to do it that way in the first
round, but it could happen in this game.
Comment section coming in strong for me still.
I am getting wrecked. Madness one might have been like an eyeball with like veins in it or something.
I think that is actually. Yeah. I'll back you up on that one. I'm going to admit to, let's see, is that Razak? Razak is interesting because he's the only one of the Ravagers that starts on 3 health, but actually inspires to 4.
Yeah, it is somewhat interesting. When inspired, he is 4 health, 2 shield, but uninspired, he's 1 shield, 3 health. So positioning him in the back to keep him safe is probably the right move.
Yeah.
Gristlewell and the Duke not necessarily able to challenge him right now.
Oh, we got a score here. Share the load.
Yeah, share the load. So they're on 2 after a move. So he has scored that.
Oh, Tim Brown introducing. Well, Monkey's Hex, it's evened out now, I think. Zack's glory counters are going to be these light green ones up top. Zack's are all over the place with the counter flexes.
Looks like he has the. I'm not sure if those are custom or not, but he has the Ravagers tokens there, which that was an organized play kit lost to time in the COVID era. So how he got his hands on those, I'll never know.
Can you read that, Gamba? What do we got out there?
Which card?
Up here we got.
Oh, that's Wary Delver. That's to put Zarsha on guard. That effect is gone. Well, I mean, the guard exists, but the card has already been played. Just never made it to a discard file.
1-1. It's looking strong for Zarsha to have Zarsha. It's not her warband anymore. Khagra is to get their Inspire off.
It used to be Zarsha's warband.
It used to be. The Duke picking up the 1 upgrade that he can afford right now. Looks like it might be Glory Seeker. That means he could come in and lay a hit on Zarsha here.
He's only moved 4, but he does have range 2.
He has range 2. His ranged attack, I believe, is only 1 damage.
I would say yes.
Yep. We're looking 2 hammers, 1 damage. The attack we'll see coming in. Be 2 damage because he's got.
And that is 1 success because he's on guard. So they've tied. Cannot be driven back because he's on guard, which means that Zarsha keeps that token and takes no damage.
I'm a little surprised Zarsha was rolling 2 dice. I think we might have missed some kind of buff there.
Oh, you know what it is? You can see he's placed a counter on his War Scroll card. We haven't talked about this. The Ravagers do have a once per game ability. When you attack someone who's on a token, you can add 1 dice, or when you are attacked while on a token, you can add 1 dice to your defensive save roll. So he's chosen to do that 1 per game this time to make sure he holds that token.
Yep.
He's now using his other, at the bottom of that War Scroll there, that is a push equal to the number of desecrated tokens on the field. So he's pushed Razak up 2 hexes. No, I'm sorry, that's Dower Craig. No, that's Khagra. Khagra has been pushed 2 hexes. And now Kragan is making what's presumably a charge to attempt to clear that token off.
Khagra coming in with a hot roll. Crit.
And 1 success because Kragan rolls on swords.
Oh, it's Kragan coming in.
So he has 1 success, but it is a critical success. He has a reroll, and I guess that was still no go. So 1 crit success and failure on defense for
and he can desecrate that. Oh, and he can. He couldn't desecrate it goes in treasure, but he gets to overrun because he overruns. Crits.
Then he can delve. Then he can desecrate.
It's a complicated life he lives. Zack picking up the bounty and a surge. There we go. Tied up at 3s.
So no, Gristlewell can still come back in the power step, and when he chooses to bring someone back in the power step, in the name of the king, interestingly, if you are the underdog, you can both bring someone back and inspire someone. Currently, there are no underdogs on this field, but if that changes, that may be what he's waiting for his in the name of the king ability to do. Zack burning through his War Scroll abilities pretty quickly here. We'll see if that's going to be a regrettable mistake or if it's what he needs to get the Inspire early, which may be his choice.
We can tell you the only one remaining, and it's a good one, is Dark Approval. Uses in a power step. Draw 1 power card for each desecrated treasure token. Tempting to use now, although he's running out of time. I mean, he's got a lot of desecration potentially coming up out there, but
ideally you do it in the beginning of the round to have more time to use those cards.
He may draw a bunch of stuff that he can't particularly
And if they're going to
use.
stay desecrated into the end phase, he might do it right at the start of round 2.
That's true. We can tell you about the Grymwatch, what they've got going on for their. They get to pick 1 delusion per round, and this is they are mad ghouls, and this is what they think. They could either be defenders of the realm. Each time you make a save roll for a friendly fighter in friendly territory, you can reroll 1 dice in the roll. The Royal Hunt. Friendly fighters' melee weapons have +1 attack dice if the target of the attack is damaged. And to the walls, you can use this. You can use in the name of the king ability twice this battle round instead of once. You can only use each of these once per game.
So knowing which one to use in which round is pretty important. Graham talked to me about his theory before, but it was when he was facing more strike-oriented warbands. I'm not sure if he switched up the order for this one. I do believe we've seen the defensive reroll already. So he may have modified what he had chosen to do. He told me earlier he's okay with losing fighters at the beginning, so he's okay not getting that reroll at the first part.
Yeah, especially if you bring to the walls in later, because that's you're doubling down on your resurrects. Pretty powerful.
Once you've lost fighters, there's no value to doing it at the first part.
I think we had the push everybody who is adjacent
within
to
one of stagger hex.
Violent Blast or something like that.
I believe so.
Okay.
Cataclysm card. See if I can find that for us. Violent Blast, pick a stagger hex, put each fighter within 1 hex of that stagger hex. So that allowed him to move the.
That's the
Knight's Herald is
and,
the grabby hands
Khagra.
man. That's what we call him. We call him grabby hands back home, based on his old card. But yeah, Khagra's now staggered. Let's see if he tries to take advantage of that. I'm not sure what his best choice is.
Folks may know that Zack was last year's ringer, so they always keep a ringer here so that nobody has to travel all the way to Worlds and have a round where they just have a bye or don't play anything at all. And they explicitly said that the ringer is not here to be an easy win. The ringer is here.
Competitive participant, and should that person win the tournament, well, then that's a heck of a ringer.
Those were his words, yeah.
This year he is a full participant and not a ringer. So we see now, in the name of the king has been used. Gristlewell is back, sitting right next to Khagra, who is staggered, and that is a 3 damage hit if it goes through, which could be a big swing.
And he's looking at 2 swords with a reroll. Khagra is not yet inspired, but she does have agile on.
Zack's face drawn into a look of concern. I think whether he saw this coming or not, it's not a great spot to be with your leader about to eat a 3 damage hit.
Yeah, flanked as well.
And
also choosing to inspire.
Because he was the underdog at the time? No.
We got to push to. It's a commanding stride.
That
is a commanding stride.
Commanding stride, which is a wise play to get her out of town. Because now
I'm curious though.
He can still charge,
and
now he's actually surrounded as well. But
it's going to give some defensive.
He will get flanked himself. So maybe that was the thought. There's a reroll, but
Oh,
there's
it's a
no swords
big
in that roll.
whiz.
But he has 2 surroundeds, which are
Oh,
in
those are good.
effect.
Yep.
That's
3
3 successes.
successes.
So hoping for a
Zack's
stand
just rolling
fast
for a
here.
crit to try and reduce damage.
No
Doesn't
crit.
get it. It does
He
have a
does have a
reroll.
reroll and no crit.
Also not.
So that's going to be 3 damage on Khagra, which is pretty big.
Khagra is a 4 health
4
fighter.
health fighter. Graham looked like he's electing not to drive her back, and I'd say that's a smart call.
He did just score the perfect cut, which is a successful attack with no defensive successes. Put Graham up. Hey, we got Brandon Huss on the stream. I don't know if his son still plays, but his son kicked me around the table after we played at the ATC many years back. Was playing Gits really well, all kinds of buzzsaw weapons.
Delving so that we could then desecrate, which makes sense.
Yep.
A little bit of insurance. The 3rd desecration will basically guarantee his inspire. And could unlock 3 card draw to start the next round if that's how he chooses to use it.
Wow. All right. Taylor's probably storming all the top tables these days. I'm surprised he's not here. All right, it's 3 desecrated. Let's start thinking about end phase scores here. Well, Khagra's clearly have the position for supremacy.
They have slow advance. They don't have hold all in a single territory. Khagra charging around to try and put a punch back on Crackmarrow while he still can.
Yeah, this will be the final.
There's a crit, and Khagra hits on hammers, and no flanking. So that's a success with the crit. She has Grievous when inspired, but not currently. So only 2 damage.
Just 2.
I mean, Crackmarrow. My apologies.
I do the same thing. I swap them around all the time. It is taking the drive back. Once she inspires, she actually inspires to gain a range 2 attack.
It's only 1 damage, but she does have a range 2 attack.
Zack may be playing knowing that he's got a Grievous in hand. Maybe he's got great strength or something like that, or some source. Battle Mount pointing out that Khagra holds all in neutral as well. Could be a real big score coming in from the end phase. We'll see.
Yeah. So if it's hold 2 and hold all in A territory, though I believe that card says friendly or enemy. Though maybe the Pillage and Plunder one doesn't care about which. Let's see. He'll also score Lost in the Depths if he holds it.
Brandon, if we get a chance, I'll ask if those are the tokens you made them. We'll wait until we're in between games here.
I know that Graham is running Strip the Realm. I'm not sure if Zack is, but he would score it in this phase if he has it as well.
Would land. There's the Inspire. Got them all. Khagra's in a dangerous position.
He's got to hope he wins the roll-off. So now that Razak is inspired, he's no slouch either.
Yeah. I think we're doing the math that we got to do to see if enough treasure tokens were flipped. Oh, we're counting up
Cataclysm as well.
Yeah. And there are 2 fighters who are. Ooh, look at all these.
You know what I've forgotten as well? Khagra has a range 2 that is only 1 damage when inspired, but it does also have Grievous on both attack profiles. So she can do 2 damage at range 2. So
okay.
Crackmarrow is not safe if he gets first turn.
That's going to be a big roll.
There's Supremacy and Slow Advance for 5. So big end phase for Zack.
So we did see a fair number of the Grymwatch Inspire there. We're going to try and keep eyes on Graham's War Scroll. It's a little hard to see from here. So
Graham has used 1 of his abilities, I believe. one it is on the
He's only going to
bottom.
ever be because he's used one per round, so he's picking which delusion he's going to use each round. So we'll see if we can get eyes on which delusion he picks when this
Use the
kicks
bottom
off.
one of the 3. He didn't reroll defense for Crack Marrow, so he may not have chosen that one. So notably, a couple of Graham's fighters have inspired now.
A lot of inspiration. There's a lot of inspiration on the board here.
Yeah.
All of Khagra's, most of the Grymwatch.
We're only going into round 2 now. All right. Swords beats doubles, so Zack has the advantage here. I'm assuming he'll take it, and you've got to imagine that he's going to be throwing an attack into Crack Marrow here.
Yeah. Crack Marrow's inspired, so he's at least got 2 defense dice, but he's flanked. Let's take a look at that.
He has given Keen Eye to Khagra, so she does have +1 dice.
Oh boy.
Looking for hammers here. 2 successes and a crit.
Oh boy.
Graham looking on in disgust. Nothing he can do there. That's 2 damage with Grievous, so down goes Crack Marrow. 1 glory for the bounty because of a 7-fighter warband, but still huge. Huge for Zack's chances here. It also uses I don't remember what that card does. I think that's a heal card of some kind.
Yeah, make an attack in enemy territory, heal 1 after, which she could use.
Khagra's now at 2 health remaining. She does have that's agile as her 2 glory there, so still only 4 health, but 2 away from death now. And inspired, she's on 2 shield with a defensive reroll from agile will make her relatively hard to shift here.
Yep. The Grymwatch up against it now. I haven't seen Zack trigger his card draw yet, but he could draw 3 power cards if he wants.
He could. He's chosen to play also the +1 defense until I fail a roll, or until I succeed on a defense. So Khagra currently sitting at 3 shields.
Wow. 3 of the reroll.
3 shields with a reroll.
I think he's telling the Grymwatch, go find someone else to hit.
Graham, I mean, knowing he's got Khagra potentially on the ropes is a big swing, but he does have to get on those tokens, being behind now by 4 glory.
For Eva's Underworlds, Crack Marrow is 4 move, 1 shield, 4 health, 1 bounty as a 2 hammer, 2 damage range 1 attack, and a 2 hammer damage 1 range 2 attack.
Zack is now using his final War Scroll ability, drawing 3 power cards because he has 3 desecrated.
And when
Graham has chosen to activate the first ability on his War Scroll there.
Okay, we'll take a quick look at that. That is Defenders of the Realm, so he's got defensive rerolls.
Would have been nice to have that before that attack happened.
Yeah, it's well, it is at the start of each battle round. You can pick one of the following.
He may have forgotten to do so.
Yeah.
Or perhaps he just saw that it was kind of pointless because
that's true.
Even if he rerolled 1, he still wouldn't have been able to beat a crit.
There's no way to reduce damage. And Eva's the inspired stats. The Duke switches from 1 shield to 2 dodge, and then attack profiles combined. He's got a 2 range, 2 hammer, 2 damage attack. Crack Marrow is a lot more than just his fighter card, though, because Crack Marrow's presence is what allows you in the name of the king, and so that's a big loss.
No more inspiration during the phase. No more resurrection. So Graham's got to make the most of what he has left. Get on tokens, flip those tokens, and pray that Khagra misses a couple. She has yet to charge. Oh, he's actually decided he's going to try and push his luck.
Here comes the Butcher.
That is an ensnare, which won't really help him here. But
Butcher's
there are many swords on that attack.
Yeah.
Crit
and there are
2 swords.
All right, I'll see your crit and 2 successes.
Well, he does have 3 shield here
with a reroll. Cool. This is actually doable.
Crit and
nope, not with that. He could get another crit too. Okay, but it's only 1.
So he will still take the full damage. I believe it's only 1.
Yep, we have explosive charges out, so all the Grymwatch are charging at +1 right now.
So Khagra down to her last wound.
Just 1, says Graham with a little dejection.
However, she keeps her defensive reroll, and she
true.
keeps her +1 defense because she didn't successfully defend.
Yeah. I wonder if that was I'm going to send a fighter in with an attack that I don't need
care
it.
about
Yeah.
to get rid of your shield, and then victim of his own
And-
success here.
Yeah. Oh, we have an improvised attack. This is a range 3 attack that has a number of dice to attack with equal to the Cataclysm count. I think they are realizing
Trying to
maybe
figure out the Cataclysm count
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
Determining how many dice he will have. This attack will be flanked. And if this goes through, which low odds, but if it goes through, Khagra's gone. 3 defense with a reroll against what I'm imagining is 2 hammers and flanked.
What we're talking about if the
Improvised attack.
oh yeah improvised I think might be well oh he's only got 1 but he crit with the one he rolled. Oh my goodness!
Crit, but here comes the reroll. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing there. That's the last damage to take Khagra out. And that is a 2 bounty. And that's big for Graham. Is it going to be enough? We'll find out.
When you're in trouble, just improvise.
I think that's the first time this tournament we've seen that card be impactful as well.
I think, as has happened many times so far, I'm being taught the error of my ways. I quite discounted that card in the games I got to try
It's
out.
nice that it's a range 3 that can be played in the power step from any fighter.
Yeah.
So you do have a lot of utility. It's just, unless you've really pushed the Cataclysm up, you're not likely to hit with it.
Yeah, apparently crits is still powerful.
That's what they say. All right, Zack has turned Kragan around to face Gristlewell, seeing if he can take his biggest threat off the board.
Huge pile of attacks here.
2 successes there with swords, and no successes there from Graham, but with 1 reroll because of his War Scroll ability. Unfortunately, nothing for him, so that'll be Gristlewell down for the 2nd time. With 0 bounty now because he does have a raise counter, but he's trying to reroll this die. I believe, unfortunate still failure. So he had 2 dodge and then a reroll. So down goes Gristlewell. No bounty, but important to take that 3 damage fighter off the board.
And there is a,
aggressive defender, perhaps. No. Hostile takeover.
Oh. I don't know if we've seen that one yet, have we?
I'm not sure that we have. Let me see if I can find it. In Pillage and Plunder, Hostile Takeover says...
Monkey's Hex coming in with the math. He put that attack at a 4%.
Hostile Takeover says, score this immediately after the 2nd or subsequent attack made by your warband that was not part of a charge.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess you got some range 2 and range 3.
And a range 3 built in with Zarsha, so it is possible. I took it with my Razors earlier, and they have many range 2s, so it is doable, but you have to pick your warband carefully.
Oh, I at first thought we had a focus, but we were just dumping a whole bunch of upgrades.
A lot was poured into Khagra, so she refunded all that glory with her death.
Zarsha is not sad. I see his guard token on Zarsha. Is that current?
No, that's from last round. They may have forgotten to clear it. Hopefully that doesn't end up being important. Unless he did something to put her on guard that I didn't see.
Yeah.
Graham lamenting that he is so hamstrung right now, and I feel for him. Hamstring, of course, being a beautiful card from the prior edition of the game. With Crack Marrow and Gristlewell out, there's really not much he can do to thin out the rest of Zack's fighters, so I think he has to switch to a token-focused game plan now, but he's got a big deficit to make up.
Zack tried to empathize a little bit by saying that I've lost my leader too, and Graham said mine's a lot more important.
I disagree. Khagra's very important.
I think Zarsha is just happy with that state of affairs. Maybe she can get her warband back.
Okay, so it looks like Valrique is coming in. There's
I'm seeing 1 success, I believe.
1 success. I think she's a Hammers fighter. And no success there.
Valric is swords. 3 looking for swords, 1 inspired, 2 looking for swords when not.
Unassailable there, not being taken off the token.
Score still looking close, but obviously Zack with board state is
Sure.
just, you can expect he's probably just going to accelerate
He
away
has
with
all 3 tokens he needs in all 3 territories. They remain desecrated. Feeling like he can risk leaving that center one. Making a charge here, going for, I want to say, the Master Talon.
I think that's
Swords
right.
on this attack, so only 1. And the defensive reroll from the War Scroll is not enough. That's 2 damage, and down goes another Ghoul. This one does give bounty as well.
This is the second Death Warband with an important leader that we've seen struggle once their leader got caved
you really
in.
do need to protect those, and in this edition of the game with the tighter boards, it can be kind of difficult.
Khagras, we're pretty heavily loaded towards the bottom of the board as the viewers see it. So I wonder if there was a safer spot for the Duke further north.
So he may have wanted to be able to leverage his attack as well.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know Graham has been playing relatively aggressively across this tournament.
Yeah.
And making usage of those attacks. He has lost the Duke several times and still managed to win those games. So
Yeah.
he's not necessarily out of it, though. It is looking pretty bad for him right now.
Now I'm thinking about the Duke did start up north, didn't he? Duke started
you
up
know what
high,
he did?
and then,
He
and then
started pretty far
charged
away,
down.
and he chose to come
He got
in
pulled in trying to kill Zarshia.
when they had done the stagger and thought, this is my chance.
Yeah.
Graham choosing to stagger himself as a part of this charge.
He's using Burrowing Strike. That's the reason for the stagger there. It gives him an extra dice, so he's rolling 3 swords, looking for 2 damage. That's a good pickup on the Grymwatch.
And Zarsha having only 2 wounds left.
Will be 3 successes because
3
Valric's
successes,
on the other
so
side.
a crit is all that's going to keep him, and that's not going to do it. That's 2 damage on Zarsha.
That should get her. 1 for the Grymwatch.
He gave her a 2 glory upgrade, which may be Great Fortitude.
Great Fortitude, sure is.
And it looks like he scored himself another glory as well for that.
We're seeing an awful lot of play in some of these streams that are, I'm going to get on a token, and if you don't get me off that, I'm going to score. But also, if you try and fail, I'm going to score.
Zarsha has chosen to delve that token, staggering herself. So that could be her demise soon enough, but presumably Zack going for some Pillage and Plunder cards there.
Should be taking that desecration off, right?
Yes, because now that it's been flipped, it's no longer desecrated, though. Desecration is currently irrelevant because he's used all of his War Scroll cards and it inspired.
That's
but
true.
Yes, if we're to play it strictly by the book, that token's not desecrated anymore.
Brandon, it's true. I actually have some extra wax in the bag. I just need enough time to break away to take care of that.
He's been a busy guy.
I have.
All right, here come the bats. We have surrounded and also a reroll here, though having delve puts him in cover. That is 3 successes, I believe. No, he's
surrounded.
a swords fighter. 2 successes. 1 isn't going to do it. No crit, no stand fast.
Finally.
Irrelevant either way. Zarsha dies. She is only a 1 bounty fighter.
Yeah.
But she is gone, and that's something that Graham can put in his pocket.
Doing it the hard way. That's a lot of activations to get 1 bounty.
Really is. Wondering if he has any push cards to get on that and flip it, and if that will help him score anything.
I have to imagine
He's chosen
so.
to commit to the combat instead of the tokens. They have now remembered to remove that desecration as well, so I guess just a little delayed there. Though again, minimal relevance for.
Oh, Zach's doing a little swapperoo here.
So I talked to Zack about his deck earlier. He has chosen to switch things up, to switch the numbers. He may have hold treasure token 3 or 4, and he does to score that in the end phase. And against the odds,
Good Lord. I think that's a 6 glory score.
yeah, so being able to manipulate the numbers is still somewhat relevant.
Showing him at 17 over there.
Pretty uphill climb for Graham here. I've seen him perform well across this event, so I know he's got something in him, but what exactly that is at this stage is going to be tough. And I think some of his cards are tied to his opponent not holding things, and Khagra's not going to allow that to happen. Oh, rolling for a priority here. Swords beats hammers in this edition, so despite being well ahead, Zack maintains priority, which he has had all 3 turns this game. I would start chanting USA right now, but we are unbiased reporters, as we said.
All right, so we think the only War Scroll ability he has left is the +1 dice for attacking a wounded fighter, maybe?
I would
depends.
hope so.
We're not sure what he selected first, but
The first one was the bottom one. He currently has active the middle one.
okay. The middle one is the Royal Hunt. So that he might be one that just removes tokens. So whatever's still got something on it is the one. So I think he still has the Royal Hunt available to him, which is melee weapons are +1 dice if targeting someone damaged. Which he's gonna have to get that first bit of damage in.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's has no wounded targets right now, so he'll have to start chipping away when he can.
Both players kind of put everything on the line right at the start. Brandon is cheering
Brandon
on
now
his.
Has a
Brandon cheering
defense.
on Zack, and then Zack is sneaking that in. Zack, yeah, I think Zack really kind of pushed the tempo of the game by getting so deep in there, and he said, "I'm going to force you to answer, and then work through."
And you deal with my stacked defensive fighters. Unfortunately for Graham, the answer was no. That is why we play a best of 3.
Philip pointing out that any fighter that is dead should be uninspired.
It should.
I don't think it will.
Minimal relevance to anyone's scoring conditions, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, for completeness' sake, a slain fighter removes all of their upgrades and uninspires.
It's good for remembering with these raised warbands.
Should a team be able to raise a fighter, that fighter comes back uninspired and with no upgrades. Though with the Duke gone, at least this game, we won't have to worry about it.
We are in the third and final match for today. We are in the first game of our third round here. We're just looking to close this one up, and Graham's going to look to recover after this one. It's been a lot of games for folks already. So they played 2 matches yesterday. This is their 3rd match today. So over 2 days now, 5 matches, could be as many as 12 games under their belt, playing their 13th if they've been playing out. A couple of these players played an extra one as practice to get in there. This is
and that's no successes there for Ravagers. So he will take, I believe, just the 1 damage, but that does make him a wounded fighter, and now the Royal Hunt is active.
Yep. Nice work to the Butcher, running in with those meat hooks and digging in.
Razak inspired, interestingly, I believe he has grapple as an ability. We haven't really seen it on this stream, but you can choose, instead of driving back, to pull someone a different direction 1 hex. Useful for yanking people off of tokens or setting up supports for a second attack.
Who are we thinking has grapple?
Razak inspired.
That would be
I'm not sure.
wild.
I know they used to have the Desecrator Gauntlets as an old upgrade in their prior deck, and that may be...
Nope, I'm not seeing that. Oh. Razik has Cleave.
Cleave, my apologies. A little less relevant for this particular matchup.
Razik coming back in, getting right back on that treasure and throwing an attack right back the other way.
Unfortunately, no successes for him, but he is on the token, and if that's important for scoring conditions, which looks like it is, the card there being aggressive defender, so a surge for 1, even if you missed the attack, he did make an attack while on a token.
Oh, and a healing potion.
And a healing potion,
boy.
so the Royal Hunt is off. Call off the hounds. There are no wounded fighters to be found. Powerful play out of Zack here. This is looking pretty dominant. Now he has hold the line, so he will remain on both of those tokens. No drybacks are going to happen, at least in the next activation.
So I think a number of folks on the watching on the stream here probably watched more than one game here today. But just in case folks don't know, as a reminder, like a lot of these war bands are actually still not even on pre-order yet, and so rather than follow only the quote unquote table one, we've been hunting up and down the tables trying to find the games that show either war bands or nations or players that haven't been on here before. We got to kick it off with Poland versus Chile matchup, which is pretty awesome. I did find out that Diego did lose 1 so far. So last I heard, he's 3-1, continuing to storm up there. And of course, the story of the weekend right now is Gorcho's Nadram dominant.
Yes. As we saw in that game, Pavel did everything he could and played masterfully, but Diego still took that off of him, and Drama has continued to succeed across the tables throughout this event.
Yeah. Zack still definitely respecting the potential that Graham has. Graham, obviously a really strong player, and Zack doesn't want to get too confident.
Absolutely.
Don't get cocky, kid. A counter charge, giving a little help to the bats.
Give some flanked here to hopefully help the bats stay alive. Razik rolling 4 swords. Only one success.
He's got a good chance.
And there's a flanked result, so it is a tie. Drive back as possible, so Zack takes it. No damage, no slain bats.
Well done, bats.
Who sadly are down to 2 wounds in this edition. Bats being on 3, very important for me back in the day.
At least they can hold.
They can hold now, which actually is probably overall an upgrade for them.
Yep. They can hold treasure. They can get resurrected. So they got some things going for them. Let's do an assessment here. Looks like we are 18-8. I can't think of enough scores that Graham could have in hand that would really swing this.
He now holds all in one territory. And there is a Pillage and Plunder card that cares for that. If he can somehow get Razik off of that token, he can say, my enemy holds no tokens, which can get him 5 glory in the end phase, but I don't know that that'll be enough.
One nice thing about the Inspire.
Graham has scored a surge somehow and is up to 9.
On the Inspire, the ghouls, every single one of them goes to 2 dodge. I'm saying, so a lot of defense that can mitigate some of the problems that you might potentially have with your low health.
Flipping that token allows him to possibly score some more delve stuff. He still holds all in his territory, and he now could get Desolate Homeland as well for having only 1 in his home territory. So there's the possibility that he could get up to 6 in this end phase, which would tighten things up, but probably not enough. So again, you are fighting for national points as well, so even in a losing battle, you should do your best to run your score up. Zack charged out. Looks like he's throwing that 4 swords again, but nothing
boy.
this time, so Valric will live to fight another day.
Zack having some rough rolls here, but it's one of those things that you're okay getting the rough rolls after you got the crucial hits in. We got another delve over here.
Third token being delved here, so he may be going for the staple Pillage and Plunder card, Broken Prospects, if he delves 3 different tokens.
If I'm reading the board right, he may have another action, and so he's going to have the chance to delve one of those back.
Could run over onto another one, delve the third one. Oh, he ran himself into a Stagger Hex instead. Unclear what the purpose is. Let's find out what Graham has up his sleeve. Maybe he didn't run through the stagger after all.
He said, hey, there's another way I can get staggered.
Having multiple fighters staggered, possibly something he's going for in Cataclysm. Let's see if we can...
He did cut, he also cut the total treasure tokens on the board down to 2. Even less, he managed to play a card to flip, so there is 1 treasure token left. Zack also carrying a hold objective 1 or 2. Oh, there's that big score. So we got Spread Havoc. The prospects you were talking about.
Yeah, so Broken Prospects for 2, Spread Havoc
Landscape
for 2, and that last one there. Trying to remember which card that is.
So we finished 15 to 19. Graham, impressive showing on the glory after losing a crucial piece so early, keeping within 4. Zack, very wise not to let his foot off the gas.
Absolutely,
and keep playing tight.
I mean, you never know what your opponent can do, especially in a first game when you haven't seen their deck yet, and there's no point taking any chances in the World Tournament. These guys are both fighting for a possibility to go to the top 16 cut, and you'd hate to lose a game because you didn't put your foot to the gas the whole time.
We'll give these guys a chance to talk out the highs and lows of that one, rebuild their decks, get ready for the next one.
And a chance for the viewers to see maybe what we're wearing today. Again, unbiased.
Yep.
No choice of any country. I support all nations equally.
It would be inappropriate for us to demonstrate a preference for one nation.
Conflict of interest is something that we have no interest in.
Yeah. Highly professional. Trace, agree. Good job on both. We've been fortunate to have some really high level play on the stream. It's been good.
Yes. I've known a couple times in this event, Graham has been down a game and found a way to come back against some powerful opponents, so he is not out of this yet. If he wins a priority roll and can actually take the first activation, we may see something different happen.
Yep.
He may choose to play a little more reserved with the Duke as well, because losing him early was a big hit.
They're still talking the big moments. They're joining. I know when Zack walked over, I'm trying to think. I think it beat Cyril in the last one. Cyril finalist in Worlds last year.
Phenomenal player.
Zack came back and said that was a sweaty game. It was a win, but it was a very sweaty game. Sounds like he won by 1 in the first game of that match, and in the second, he said he was about to have supremacy scored on him, and he managed to kill.
If he hit that attack, he wins. If he misses, he loses.
Yep.
He hits the attack and wins the game. Zack multiple times has had like down to the wire, even tiebreaker wins this round of the tournament. So, doing well. He's a great character, but he's had a very stressful run of things. So, see if that continues and if Graham can give him a little bit more sweat today.
Yeah.
He's got any left in him.
Yeah. Hope he's got extra shirts. Some people are smart enough to bring multiple changes of clothes on a given day. I don't know.
I've always said, in a 4-day tournament, when you make it to the finals, emanating presence of odor can be the small advantage you need to take it.
That's true.
And competitive players cannot afford to leave any advantage at home.
You got to want the win.
You've got to want it. You've got to reek of desire.
We've got the board cleared off just about. These are still the old tokens, as you might recall. And we were kind of talking through some of the initial rollout. So I think Zack ended up with the tokens last time, which would mean that he is going to place the board. If I'm correct, we'll see if that plays out. They're going to give a shuffle, present for a cut. Jason Murray, if circumstances permit and the school year starts at an appropriate time, Emmett and I may have to make another pilgrimage out, and then I can serenade you there. I will not disgrace this stream with my singing voice right now.
Got to give the fans what they want.
I'm encouraged.
Zack going for the thin cut for the win cut there. Classic of mine.
Brandon flattering us, saying that we were professional at one point.
At one point.
At one point.
That is far behind us now.
Another handshake. We've seen great sportsmanship on this table every round so far.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep. I assume that everybody would come to this conclusion, but of course, everything that we've streamed here will be video on demand as well. Same channel, just sitting right there. You probably saw it on your way into this one. We don't have any time to clean anything up in the meantime, so they're going to be as they are until we get it. The very first one that we ran, we had a number of interviews while we were waiting for that first round. There's a lot of dead air as we kind of wait. We had a holding pattern. If you're not aware, a lot of the assets that the players are using are things that they had just a couple weeks, just a few weeks to preview. They are some of the things that are just released a week ago, some of the digital war scrolls, or not releasing for pre-order until tomorrow. Those things are all available. The only warbands that were not available are also going on pre-order tomorrow, and that would be
Jaws of Eatsel and the Grandfather's Gardeners.
Yep.
Not eligible for competition here. You'll still get to see them tomorrow, and
yep.
Pretty exciting from what I hear. But
yep.
Otherwise, yeah, a lot of things happened here that players got to see some digital previews of under NDA, but did not have physical copies. Difficult to practice with no one else under NDA near you because everyone is a local hero. And as a result, they had to receive their physical copies on site, and so that took a little bit of time out of the first day. We were able to get rolling, though. But yeah, all of the things you can see after our live streams are going to be completely unedited. So if you catch any mistakes, make sure you let us know.
So suggested listening for game 2. I'm going to say because we have a Canadian versus an American here. We're going to go with, I think, anything from the band. So how about Tears of Rage, which might be what Graham's feeling after the death of Crack Marrow. And that's a Canadian band playing Americana music, and of course the amazing Levon Helm there to keep some American roots in there. But throw that on if you want.
Well, you can listen to that. The game will take a little longer than that song, so I also have another recommendation for you. There is a song by the band The Children of Bodom called Triple Corpse Hammer Blow, which I'd like to imagine is what Khagra has put in her headphones before this game.
I think they're basically the same song. That sounds like
yeah.
All right.
Triple Corpse Hammer Blow. If you have never heard it, worth a listen. Swedish metal bands, near and dear to my heart.
Last feature. There is room to put it in No Man's Land if it goes way south on the board.
Both players using Pillage and Plunder. I don't know that they necessarily need it the way our last Emberstone mirror did, but
yep.
Something to consider when you do have that space in the 9's orientation.
I think the Grymwatch are on Countdown. They're on Emberstone and Countdown. Is that right? Or
no, they're on Pillage and Plunder and Countdown.
That's my fault.
The Pillage and Plunder is the shared deck for these two.
Got it.
Razak in the back, starting at 3 health. Not a bad idea. Still able to walk onto that token if he needs.
I mean, that Inspire is big. Inspire is big for both these warbands,
It
right?
really
Like
is,
getting
yeah.
to the 2 dodge, big deal. The defensive buff, the health buff, lot to be gained from the Inspire.
Got a comment in the chat that all else fails, you can listen to Diggy Diggy Hole by Windrose. Another beautiful song. Better suited for Fire Slayers, perhaps, or Zondara's Gravebreakers, who we do not see represented at this event, but still a good one if you've never had the chance. Diggy Diggy Hole. Very catchy. Stuck in my head for days every time I listen to it.
The playlist form from this is going to be a little bit of a gear grinder, but it's going to be good. All right, let's think about Crack Marrow. That's an interesting piece of the flavor that I think was retained from the first edition. Was Crack Marrow ends up being an important piece to attack with, but it's tough to decide when it's worth risking him.
Range 2 being a little less dangerous now as well means you do have to risk him if you want to get that offensive leverage.
Yep.
And against someone with so much output like Khagra and the Ravagers, it's not always the smartest play.
Yeah.
As, Graham may have learned. A little bit of protection, but still strike range for the fast Gristlewell. Valreek, sadly, on 2-wound fighter now.
But, again, resurrectable.
Resurrectable. And do Crack Marrow far away from all the danger, which is probably the best place to put him.
Indeed.
We'll see if Graham decides to put him in early. Giving me a very nasty stare after that one.
We're on your side. Here's the roll-off. Hammer's going to take it.
All right, so Graham has won a priority roll. Let's see what he does with it. Being able to orient the boards, get the advantage on token placement, fighter placement, and now also first turn. So game 1 is in the books, but game 2 is still anyone's to have. And Graham's starting out with a pretty strong opening. He is selecting his 3rd War Scroll ability to start, which I believe is the...
To the Walls. You can use In the Name of the King ability twice this battle round.
So 2 times he can inspire someone, or 2 times he can resurrect someone, and if the underdog, he can do both twice this round. Also hedging against possibly losing Crack Marrow early, he'll have already gotten the advantage of that out, instead of having it be a dead ability later in the game.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance Valreek may need to get resurrected, given her position out front.
I would be surprised if she survived beyond 3 activations, yes.
She's going to be a tempting target because she is hanging out there, and she'll give that Desecrate right away, although it's,
had she moved on to that token and delved it, it would not be desecratable.
Yep.
But it also puts her still in a bad position.
Let's see, Khagra starting off.
Has ended up and then desecrated on that token. I'm not sure if he played a sidestep or what it is that he did to allow that.
Sidestep indeed.
Sidestep, there it is.
Just hidden under the dice tray.
And now he already has 1 desecrated token prior to his first activation, and he has a charge and a chance for a second.
Double
2
crit.
crits out of Kragan. I don't think there's anything Valreek can do. Stand fast, not possible. 2 health. She dies. 1 bounty is up, and because he killed her in the attack, desecration happens, and he doesn't even have to use a power step to do it. Also scored aggressive defender because he made an attack while on a feature token.
Luke Hartman feeling a little crunk down there. Switching it up already.
He's changing some
There's
numbers.
He wants. Zack told me about this. He will sometimes do this to desecrate extra tokens. So now there's another one that's going to be flipped.
Yeah,
I don't
the
think
desecration follows the token itself and not the spot on the board. So there's a desecrated token in the backfield there. Easily undesecratable should he move on to and then delve it, but it's something he has to do. And now there are 3 desecrations. So he may start burning those War Scroll abilities that make use of them while he still has them up and desecrated. He could draw 3 cards right now. He could push a fighter 3 hexes right now.
I guess what helped, yeah,
he's chosen to draw the 3 cards while he still has it,
yep.
because it probably will be down to 2 desecrations quite soon.
Yeah. Brandon Huss nailing that third ability.
Wary Delver placing Kragan on guard, so he will continue to maintain that token for probably quite some time.
I think that almost locks in the Inspire for Khagra's here.
It would be very difficult for him to slay Razak and get on the token and delve it without Zarsha just sidestepping onto number 1 and doing the same thing. So pretty confident here if I'm Khagra that I'm going to be inspiring at the end of the round.
On the flip, I think you're going to see almost all the Grymwatch inspired as well. There is very few people who are in their territory, and we still have to the wall. So we have in the name
Moved
of the
on.
king.
He'll undesecrate, which only happens when the token is flipped, so he still has to do that. But in the power step, he can play to the walls, name of the king twice if he wants.
Graham scoring share the load. 2 fighters with.
So he could inspire 2 fighters and resurrect the one who's been slain, should he so choose to do that now. He may just inspire 1, resurrect 1, and if he loses another, then bring him back. So far hasn't done either thing, but that is eligible for him to do. Starting to wonder if inspiring Gristlewell is worth it if he thinks that charge is something he should try for. Kragan being only on 1 shield, uninspired and inspired. He has a guard, but no upgrades, so. Zarsha moving on to that token, locking in that inspiration for him. A little bit of discussion over which activation they're on because of so many out-of-sequence pushes here, but 3 desecrated tokens again, and Zack probably feeling pretty comfortable right now.
And we're, as I recall, the opening play did come from Graham, and it was a move onto
that first feature token that he then delved subsequently.
So it does look like the board state is correct.
Kragan is now delving himself. No, he's been drawn in.
Okay. Found a way to get him off there.
Yeah. Staggering him and pulling him off of the token. But 2 glory upgrade has been applied to Kragan. I would imagine that is great fortitude just to keep him alive.
Safe to say.
So yes, in the name of the king being used, and while the underdog, he can inspire a fighter as well. So he's brought back and inspired Valric, who now has flanked and a stagger reroll, should he choose to attack Kragan. But Zack using his War Scroll ability to push Kragan back a number of hexes equal to the number of desecrated tokens. He had 2, 3 at the time. Didn't want to push all 3 because he does want that token.
And that push also requires him to either end on a treasure token or adjacent to somebody who is holding a treasure token.
So I guess that is the only real place he could have gone and stayed safe.
But it's a great place to be.
And a good counterplay as well. Burned that ability, but you want to make sure you keep your early advantage. And he may be lining up for a very big end phase score that he wants to secure.
Seems like it.
Graham pondering his options over there.
I wonder if Graham was thinking that he was going to be able to have that, get on there, delve it. All of a sudden, you're down to only 2 treasure tokens on the board. And
you delved 3 things.
Yeah.
Which could score in broken prospects.
Yep.
I think that token.
I think that step
that
was
hurts
big.
him a lot, I would imagine. Based on the facial expression, I think that's probably what's the case. Both players looking at their objective hands, seeing what they can score, what they might be able to deny of their opponents.
I'm guessing Zack feels like he's already in position for most of his stuff. Like,
If I'm Zack, I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah.
But we don't know what Graham has. We didn't see a lot of his deck last game, so we're not totally sure what his objective deck might look like, what options he does have available to him.
Interesting sending the Butcher in now, huh?
Sending the Butcher in with a move token instead of a charge. Possibly because he wants to have some staggered fighters for a Cataclysm card. And probably didn't see much value in making that attack. Well, I can't imagine why you would waste the opportunity. There may be something I don't know about his cards.
Real heavy concentration of tokens up top there. And here's the attack.
They have been an out-of-sequence move, and now
Yeah.
a charge with Valrique is likely what happened. Valrique throwing swords. Though she's inspired now, so she may be a Hammers fighter. And Razak on guard also has 2 successes. Notably, I don't think he used the reroll for the stagger. I'm not sure if that
Didn't see it.
intentional or not.
Got lost in the mix of all those many tokens.
There's a lot going on up there. It's easy to not see something. We have the benefit of a top-down view.
Brandon Huss pointing out that this game's kind of demonstrating there's a lot more than just tossing dice. And we've seen a lot of that. We've had the opportunity to feature a number of taken hold warbands. Or even if they're not taking hold, well, you know, we've seen Flex. I think our last one, we had a whole lot of supremacy play between Headsman's and the Emberwatch. So,
well, and that said, the game has evolved to an extent that even the strike warbands and the strike decks do care about feature tokens.
Mhm.
And so there's, you know, nearly every warband and nearly every deck, unless you specifically build against that, does want to interact with tokens, and positional play is integral to nearly every player's style now. Now, dice alone is really not the game anymore. As sad as my Griselzar and I might be about that.
So we're still looking at a 2-1 score advantage to Khagra. That 1-2 glory upgrade on Razak. We're thinking it's Great Fortitude from here. But I think the true score is going to be a little more tilted than that right now.
You've got to imagine there's a big end phase coming here for Zack. Graham does still have one more use of in the name of the king if he needs to inspire another fighter. Gristlewell has yet to charge. Won't be able to kill Kragan here, but put him close enough that finish him off later on might be the play.
If he's running Countdown to Cataclysm and feeling real saucy, he may have the damage people within one.
Oh, he has more of his own fighters there than anyone else, but
Yeah.
there are some cards that don't care who it is that's damaged as long as the damage is out. So Gristlewell is making that charge. Not inspired, though. He chose not to use in the name of the king. Maybe just hedging against losing another ghoul.
That's 2 successes because he's got flanked and surrounded.
Yeah, so let's see if there's a crit here to reduce the damage. Crit, but
There
also
is
a
some
failure.
damage reduction. So just 2 damage.
He will
we're
stand
thinking.
fast, so it'll be just 2 damage.
The drive back portion of that not being as important. So 2 defense dice, that's got to be what that upgrade is.
He must have given himself an additional die, and it's not Great Fortitude. So Kragan now has 2 wounds remaining. Unless he used the War Scroll ability to give himself the plus defense, but I don't see that marked on the War Scroll,
true.
so that's still available for Zack later in the game.
Man, it's a good War Scroll. This is really a warband that is not on my radar at all until this weekend.
Yeah, I would be willing to wager that you're going to see some Khagras in force for a couple of months here. Maybe not as much hype as Gorchosen have had, but they're looking pretty good to me. And Zack is playing them quite well.
Kragan bravely sallying forth now that all the work has been done.
Davey, it is confirmed that you don't know this one. It's not on your radar because you keep mixing up Kragan and Razak.
Oh, wait.
Those 2 boys look a little different to me. 2 hammers there. That is a successful attack. And yeah, not being able to defend with anything on crit side means 2 damage to Gristlewell, who is a 2-wound fighter in this edition. So down he goes. But in the name of the king can still be used a second time. So I would imagine we're seeing him come back and likely inspired as well. Unless he chooses to inspire Crack
There's
Marrow
a heal
himself.
happening there from a healing potion.
Healing potion, just in case anyone had ideas about taking Kragan off the board. He's now has only 1 wound on him, 3 health remaining. Graham doing everything right. It's just not working out for him. Zack seems to have an answer for just about everything he's putting out there.
Yeah. Graham, interesting with the War Scrolls. Like Graham's got that great in the name of the king to be able to trigger. That's a repeatable, but otherwise his War Scroll abilities are forced to be spread out over. It's
Choose one per round. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Zack has been kind of blowing through his pretty early, so he kind of front loads, helps him get that like dominant position, ensure the inspire, and then
here's in the name of the king back,
yep.
and he's chosen to return and inspire Bristlewell, who no longer has a charge token. So I think he's already used all 4 of his
he was the first to activate.
At the opening of the next round, there's a chance we'll see a big 3 damage swing coming at somebody.
Athena, welcome. I'm glad you got to catch a live one. Hopefully you're enjoying it.
Yeah, comment in the chat from Trace, a bit more cagey play from Zack this game. Absolutely true. We saw him press very heavily into enemy territory at the beginning of the first game. This time he's largely stayed in his zone, risking only 1 fighter in neutral territory and has not pressed further. Could potentially be a result of the cards he had in his hand, or maybe he was a little afraid of losing fighters, seeing as how he did have Khagra taken off the table.
We just saw Glory Seeker go down on Gristlewill.
So 4 damage swing might be coming in soon.
Gristlewill has the ability to kind of carve through some people here.
So Desolate Homeland has been scored for 1, as there's only 1 treasure token in his territory. Graham at 2. And here comes a big ol' drop of Supremacy, and I'm not sure what the other one was, but he's given himself 5, 6 glory in this end phase.
5.
No, just 5, yeah. Kragan also has Glory Seeker. Really only useful for taking out Duke Crackmarrow, but it is something. Graham reminding Zack to inspire his fighters in a show of sportsmanship. But pretty board-wide inspire for both warbands, actually, because one of the Grymwatches is how many wounds are out of action, but the other one is how many fighters are not in your territory, and it ends up none of them. So that may have been part of the reason that Zack pressed in so hard last game, is attempting to prevent the inspire, and he's done nothing this game to do that. So both warbands with every fighter alive, both warbands with every fighter inspired. So we'll see swords start flying pretty soon here in round 2, I'd imagine.
Valreek and Gristlewill now back with raise counters on him, which means those 2 fighters are not worth any bounty.
No bounty if he takes them out, so he can risk them without needing to fear so much if he loses them.
Right. So hopefully he can kind of give Zack some headaches of, hey, you got to deal with this, but if you do, it's not going to score you all that much.
If he chooses to the sound of the Royal Hunt, Kragan does still have 1 wound on him. The healing potion's already been used, so he should be able to put some hurt out. Swords are tied, but there is an underdog, and so that means that Graham maintains priority for this round.
I thought we had a hammer and a sword. Maybe
I missed a hammer and a sword? I may have missed that. A little bit of reflection on the dice there. Made me miss something.
Athena living in the future.
All right, so Kragan getting into enemy territory, but also attempting to keep himself safe, knowing he is the wounded fighter. Graham has chosen the middle of the 3 War Scroll abilities, which I do believe is the Sound of the Hunt. So he will be getting additional dice against wounded fighters. So Kragan may not live for long. So Zack choosing to use him while he still has
Blaze of glory for Kragan. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy, 2 crits.
Technically defendable.
But not with that roll. And
And an
triggering
overrun.
overrun with 2 crits as well means he can delve that token back and then desecrate it should he so desire.
Adios, Master Talent.
And he has chosen to place Razak on guard, playing Settle In. And he's also chosen
healing
to
as
heal,
well.
basically invalidating that Sound the Hunt. Graham running a hand through his hair because he knows how much that hurts.
Not sure if he's picked up the bounty for that kill. That wasn't a slain fighter already, was it? All right. That sounds like there's going to be a real unexpected end to this game. We're going to take the counter back down to 8 in case something we missed. But I think he ought to be having one more for the bounty.
Worth noting, Zack has still not used his final War Scroll ability of either +1 defense while on a token or +1 attack dice when attacking on a token. So should he need to, in a pinch, get something done in token territory, he's got a little extra dice coming his way. Vacating that center token does allow for some of that pillage and plunder to start coming into effect. Removing a desecration, though it no longer is relevant. Delving to probably work towards a couple pillage and plunder cards is Graham. Zack mimicking a mop and a broom, cleaning off the desecration of the token. Getting a laugh out of both players.
No, Crackmarrow is still alive. He's a little hard to distinguish, but he is down, tucked in between the bats and the
Crackmarrow has not actually activated yet, though he has done the In the Name of the King to bring back 2 fighters and inspire 2 fighters, so still impactful without being activated. Both players being a little more protective of their leaders this round, seeing as they both lost in the last game. So a pink card played, choose a fighter within one of a feature territory, who's not vulnerable, and put a damage on them. So Khagra now damaged, and the hunt is back on, boys. She has 2 shield now that she's inspired, but is sporting no upgrades, so no rerolls, no resistance to cleave, no avoidance of being flanked. And now that she is commanding stride to get away from that token.
She was clearing off from getting charged by the by Gristlewell, who was going to be 4.
Getting her away from Gristlewell might be a good idea, though. He can still get 1 bounty if he manages to take Zarsha down. It's not nearly as impactful to the overall game state. Gristlewell at 5 move, though, could potentially come in and hit Razak if he wanted. My apologies, they're only 4 move now.
I think they may not get all the way to 5.
That's upsetting for Grymwatch fans out there.
Yep. They all start on 4 move and finish the 4 move, except for the Harriers. The Harriers will bop to 5.
Zarsha desecrating, removing, delving, removing the desecration token and staggering herself. Both players are using Pillage and Plunder, so there is likely a reason for that in Zack's objective hand.
Currently 3 treasure tokens showing. If it drops down to 2, then we have a couple 2 glory, or there's a 2 glory end phase that can score off of that. And Razak, am I getting that right? No, Kragan. Razak. Kragan.
Razak is the one with the shield. Kragan is the one with 2 weapons.
Razak's rad because it's a skateboard shield. I gotta come up with some mnemonic. Kragan back there. Well, either one. He just needs to keep an eye out that he doesn't accidentally get himself holding no treasure and give up 3 glory.
He's on guard, so it'll be a little difficult to do anything about that. And having healed him now twice.
All right, here's a big swing.
Get
it is only a 1 bounty for her. Oop.
Crit.
Crit on its own. Reroll if he remembers it.
Does.
There it is.
Still only 1 crit, though.
Depending on dodge.
Single block.
That is
He's in
decidedly
cover
not it.
because of the delve.
Oh.
So crit still will allow him to overrun if he wants to, but it does not do the 3 damage.
Graham rocking back. It seems like he really wanted that one.
What more does a guy have to do? The
And
overrun isn't nothing, but you really wanted to put those 3 damage out there.
Requisite. I think Krasik Reagan is the older, more metal brother of Chuck Reagan. Good musician. Maybe he's the AOS version of Chuck Reagan.
We talked about Zack having some sweaty games early in the tournament. He looks like he's having a sweaty game now. He's got a sigh of relief on his face after he survived that attack. Graham thinking about whether he has anything to do in his power step, but I think ultimately he's passed. Razik will be charging around the corner, swinging at the Butcher, who is staggered.
And the Butcher is not yet been killed, so he's worth everything that...
No successes there, but there is one reroll from Stagger. Oh, no, actually, my apologies. Razik hits on hammers. Didn't even need the reroll. So Butcher is slain. It does give up a bounty. Bringing Zack's total to 9.
Tom Meister, we can give it a quick rundown here. We'll interrupt it if we get to the end phase and need to run through them. But the important thing is that they look to desecrate tokens. So they will they can do that in the power step if they're holding it. They can do it if they kill somebody who is on it or kill somebody else while they're on it. They will inspire if there are 2 desecrated at the end of an end phase, and they'll have a global inspire. And then they have Dark Approval, which is draw the number of cards that are or equal to the desecrated treasure. Eye of the Gods, which is the only one that has not seen used. You can use it to gain an extra dice on save or attack. That's happening in or around a treasure token. And then Ravaging Advance is a push a fighter. The number has to end on a treasure token and can go as far as the number of desecrated treasure. And I think that's the quick rundown. Zach, we'll double check the rules, but you do uninspire now. I've got my chief scribe working on it.
All right, so there was a question in the chat about whether or not fighters uninspire when they're slain. I'll read out on page 16 of the rulebook. If they have more damage tokens equal to or greater than their health characteristic, they are slain. Immediately remove the slain fighter and their tokens from the battlefield. Remove all tokens from their fighter card and each of their upgrades. Discard those upgrades, and then uninspire that fighter. So, unfortunately for Graham, if he does bring them back, they are not inspired unless he inspires them again. So, kind of a bit of a sad day for Ray's warbands in this rule set, that they can bring them back, but they will lose their upgrades and be uninspired when they do so.
I think us correcting Requisite on one, I think that
might be the first
still
and
leaves
last
him
time
up
that ever
14
happens.
to 1 on that count. So keep your head high.
So we have Claim the Prize, delving in enemy territory. So there's one
Could have
more.
delved anywhere because he's the underdog.
Yeah, he is the underdog, though he did it in the enemy territory.
We are actually, for those who don't know, we're tucked right in alongside the French Wargaming studio.
A French player just won a major game on stream in the Age of Sigmar, so I think
There's a lot of excitement
several
happening.
pretty enthusiastic celebrants here. A man screaming French into his microphone. French fans coming by to applaud. Hopefully they clear out soon. I think one of our judges is wandering through to disperse.
Jason Murray pointing out that it's likely because the once they return and they are no longer worth glory, they probably deserve to be uninspired. This is actually one of the warbands that can kind of re-inspire them pretty quick, though. So.
Yeah. Not too difficult to re-inspire them, at least at the end of the round, if not earlier, within the name of the king. There's a crit on the reroll there. There's a crit on defense. Zack is continuing to get away with it here, it looks like. He does have 1 damage on her.
Oh boy.
Share the load, I believe that card is.
Yep.
Because he has fighters on tokens.
Zack's really leveraging these objectives that score based on positioning. Like we saw in the previous some of our previous games, you know, some of these attack, get a crit in an attack roll or a branching fate and that sort of thing. But he's really been making hay out of delving in the right place or standing in the right place or moving. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it's been a challenge for Graham this match because they both want the tokens, but the Ravagers have a couple of pretty effective tools to get on them and are quite difficult to shift once they do so.
Yeah.
Grymwatch, at least uninspired, don't have the most inspiring attack characteristics, and so in round 1, it's difficult to stop Khagra from becoming even more difficult to shift by the time they have their offense back up. Khagra's defense has kept pace, so perhaps a bit of a disadvantage for him in this pairing.
And that is
Valric and push her away.
Darcy actually has a pretty nice ranged attack. It still does 1 damage as pretty much every ranged attack we've seen.
It also has the stagger rune mark. I don't know if he will remember or choose to stagger Valric here. He may choose not to because he knows Cataclysm wants multiple staggered fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So that may have been a intentional play by Zack there.
For folks who are not sure, definitely not me, why does Cataclysm want multiple staggered fighters?
Well, you see, Davey. For those at home who don't know, because you, of course, do, there is a card in Countdown to Cataclysm that is somewhere. I'm going to find it. I could be totally wrong about this. Boy, howdy, I don't see it. Maybe it's not in here.
Athena's asked a question here to the hosts of the warbands you've seen this weekend. What has you most excited to play around with? I think we're going to restrict that to maybe what we've seen on stream, but we could also reach out since we are seeing a number of warbands in and about. I'm going to have to think that one over a second. I will say one that I was really surprised with was Spyclaw's Swarm. Was not expecting them to be as strong as Pavel was making them seem. And then that was my answer up till now, but this Grymwatch inspired. I know Graham's having a little bit of a rough go of it right now, but I think there's some pretty hot tricks we can do with these power step resurrections.
He may be a victim of his opponent's strengths this time.
Yeah.
I know Graham has done quite well into other opponents this event, so Grymwatch do have play. I think it may just not be the right matchup for them. I personally am pretty excited by Spyclaws as well. I really did overlook them, and Pavel showed me how wrong I was about that. He went on to win another match against them with a series of good players. Spyclaws is better than I gave them credit for. One of the things that I personally am quite excited for actually is Khagra's Ravagers, part of why I wanted to have them on the stream here, because I think, seeing as how they much struggled in the first edition, a lot of the things that seem kind of counterintuitive and working against themselves in the first edition version of the warband have been rectified here. I don't know that they're necessarily going to win the world tournament, but I think they're much stronger than they were before. And in the hands of a skilled pilot like Zack appears to be showing us that there's a lot that they can do. Unfortunately, we don't see represented at this tournament Morgoth's Crushes, but I also am actually pretty interested in them. You'll see tomorrow. There's some very interesting things they have able to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks. I would have expected to see some Crushes, but I think what probably happened is they looked at them side by side with
Drum,
and they said, "Well, I think I'm just going Drum." So, who knows? We may see some adjustments to Drum. This is kind of the first unleashing of the wisdom of the crowd. So Let's see. Butcher coming in with a big swing.
Got 2 swords here. Khagra driven back, and she does have 2 damage on her now. So possibly able to make use of that. You can put some damage on her at the start of the next round. She could be taken out. So behind by 6 glory, and we don't know what's in the end phase for Zack here. It could be a tough ask. Use a token and flip it. That has removed desecration as well.
We are down to 2 treasure tokens. Oh, here comes some scores. Against the odds, because he has delved an odd token. And I missed the other, but it's a 3 glory.
Cataclysm tracker advances.
We have Spread Havoc. That's going to be for 2.
2.
And
yeah, we're still in the 2 right now of the Cataclysm counter, but that card can't exceed 2 anyway. And he was able to delve 3 tokens, or flip them anyway. So he will score 2 for Broken Prospects.
It might have even been that, I'm not sure if it was...
one that was held by Zarsha at the beginning of the round.
Did it,
yeah, he
did
meets
it the
that
hard
condition.
way. Bring it to 9 to 14. Close enough to be in it.
Not over till it's over.
I think the difference here is that although his position looked like it was compromised, the Duke was alive and allowed him to continue to dig back out of that situation. Worth noting is that Gristlewell is still a threat here. He's still running around with a potential lethal source of damage for many of the fighters out there.
Yeah, both Khagra and Zarsha could be taken out by 1 hit from Gristlewell.
So only 4 glory in it. And we have, let's see, Khagra with 2 damage on her. She is a... She must be a
4 health
2
fighter.
or 3.
She's a 4 health fighter. She's worth 2.
She's worth 2. There's 2 bounty there. Zarsha is only worth 1. Your other 2 bounty fighter is going to be Razak. Razak is the other one. So he's hard to pop with that shield. There, I got them the right way around for once.
Razak has the shield, yes.
I can't remember if I called this comment out, but Trace actually raised a really good point. Seeing Mark play Kanan was kind of amazing, too.
Incredible talent out of him. All right, so it looks like last game, the American won all 3 priority roles. This game, the Canadian wins all 3 priority roles, and all is right with the world.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
All things should be. All right, let's see what Graham does with it. I'm going to guess that Gristlewell is going to be involved somehow.
He's going to use his last illusion, and that is going to be the defensive reroll, I believe.
It's only for friendly territory, though.
Yep. Which he's got some fighters hanging out in there, so I think that'll still be worthwhile.
Yep. Graham has moved Gristlewell onto a feature token. Not sure what that was.
I think he's
no,
just
he was already
up,
on that one.
Yeah,
That's
picking
true.
up tokens. So just in case folks missed it, it's going to be Defenders of the Realm. Each time you make a save roll for a friendly fighter in friendly territory, you can reroll 1 dice in that roll. So that's a little extra insurance protection for the Duke himself.
Right. So Gristlewell coming in.
Oh,
Presumably
Gristlewell
he's attacking
not caring.
Zarsha to finish her off, but he could be going for Craig and
Yeah, I wonder.
Razak. Look, I made the mistake this time.
Gotcha.
Coming for
Infected.
Razak to put him down to 1 wound remaining.
So this must be going after.
Must be Zarsha because
Zarsha.
Zack has chosen to burn his final ability to give +1 save dice to a fighter on a token. So Zarsha throwing 2 shields here. She has an upgrade. I'm not sure what it is.
Drex, I would have to go back. I cannot remember for sure what the Spike Claw pairing was. Here's that attack. Oh, that's a crit success. So 2 dice, and that's because of the War Scroll ability.
And he is flanked. Crit success.
Is she on shields?
Would you look at that, Graham?
She's not on shields.
She's not on shields? Inspired?
We'll take a quick look.
I was wrong. No, you're right. I'm thinking of the old days still.
Yep.
Yeah, she's on dodge, so crit and a failure means that 3 damage goes. That's a slain fighter. That's 1 bounty for Graham.
And we might have missed there was a surge there because he's up to 11 now. Close the gap to within 2 glory. I'm interested. What do you make of this positioning where he chose to charge into a spot that gave up the flanks? Do you think that was so that he wasn't attacking in a spot that Khagra could get a free swing?
That may have been the case because she does have a range 2 with Grievous putting 2 damage out, and with Gristlewell being a 2-wound fighter now, she could, without charging, finish him off. So
yeah, I think that's got to be it.
They have decided, I'll take the odds of the flanks result over the higher chance of losing. That said, Razak can still turn around and punch too, and he's not necessarily a slouch either. Here comes the improvised attack.
Oh, here now he's set up the flanks, and so if this even if this gets a drive back, it'll make.
But 2 shields is a superior result, so Razak has tanked this one.
I don't know if it came in on the mic. I heard some like cascading. It sounded like the sound of plastic models like tumbling.
Yeah, imagine someone knocked over a case full of china. It sounded something like that, and I believe there is a tragedy of dice.
That's an alarming sound to hear in a hall full of
not dice, but models. That last Age of Sigmar game clearing out for the next stream table, and somebody's case tipped over. Insult to injury. I think that was the player who lost that last game as well. So.
Khagra coming in.
Khagra has, I'm assuming, made a charge here to try and finish Valric off.
Can't quite see it, but I think so. No, it's just a move.
Just a move.
That has to be because there's nothing to be gained by killing Valric here.
She is only 0 bounty now with a raise.
And he must think that he wants the flexibility to reactivate Khagra.
If he wants to move her again. He's also delved that token back to treasure side, so he may need that for holding treasure tokens. Or for holding all treasure tokens in 1 territory.
Khagra with no upgrade still means that 2 damage can kill her. Valric currently inspired. Can do 2 damage, it looks like. So, ice in his veins. Staggering himself right there.
Drex making a comment about our cascading sound. I've taken a better look, and it was not the models. It was, in fact, a bag full of metal dice. They are green dice, though, so we'll have to assume it is an orc army.
There we got Agile goes on Khagra.
So
figured he must have some kind of defensive tech.
Yeah, so 2 shield with a reroll. Gives Khagra a little bit better staying power. She only has 2 health remaining. Valric does do 2 damage.
Scanning the board, I'm not seeing a lot of help that can come in to assist on this.
No, Gristlewell won't be able to make a far enough move.
He's charged.
The Butcher, I don't think, is going to be a valuable choice here.
The bats could get there, but they're only doing one.
And just because I do happen to know Drex Starbreaker in real life, Andrew, I hope you are happy to hear that I did drink a Baja Blast live on air. We gave a Baja Blast to another player, and Ben drank it on stream and then won that game. So, you know, it lives on.
Sounds. I bet he's wishing he had another one for the next one after that, so he could close the match.
That's true
out.
because that was the only one of the 3 that he won. I have 3 more in the fridge back in the hotel. If I had known, maybe I would have brought them out.
I think Graham knows that he's within striking range here. You know, he's 2 glory down, but he's got to be real careful. Got to be real selective with.
Yeah,
how
if he can
it.
make sure to get Khagra out of there, that's 2 bounty. So in the name of the king, bringing another fighter back.
Wonder if we're coming in to give support somehow here.
Possibly. But another great fortitude goes on Khagra. Oh,
big.
Closing the door there.
I like that kind of play. Sometimes you can kind of bait play from your opponent. Like, okay, commit more resources to this. Now I'm going to push myself out of range of this actually accomplishing.
Putting great fortitude down on first would have made him use less since he knew it wasn't possible. You could try and find a way around agile. Not very easy to find a way around great fortitude.
Oh, something
and
else.
also giving her the +1 defense dice until she fails.
Oof.
So she now is 3 shield with a reroll and 5 health.
Well, we did see a 4% attack go through earlier today. It is a good point. It did not occur to us to seek out true sponsors to get us here.
I'm hoping that organically Mountain Dew notices me and gives me all that I could ask for and more, which is just like a can or 2 of Baja Blast, if you're being honest.
All right, the Butcher.
Moving, delving, pillage and plunder. Things are happening.
Should be staggered.
Should be.
Don't know that's going to be super
Though,
important.
looking back through the deck, though I mocked you for it, I couldn't find anything about stagger tokens. So it's possibly unlikely, at least in the objective deck for Countdown to Cataclysm. Stagger is not mentioned.
Graham picks up another one. That must be his third delve for the round. Oops, I'm adding him to the wrong side here.
And Razak has now picked up Duelist, so after he attacks, he can push one. Probably going to turn and punch Gristlewell and then shift on to token 4.
Gristlewell has not. Oh, Gristlewell has died before, so Gristlewell is not going to give up any glory on that. But and I don't think there's a way that.
No, and I don't think there's any attack-based scoring in Zack's deck that we've seen so far either. So maybe he'll dive into the backfield and try and take out one of those. French celebration continuing there a little bit. Sorry, folks. They are incredibly pleased with whatever went down on the AOS tables.
We're going to grant them some latitude because part of the reason we're able to be here is the tremendous help we received from French Wargaming and Julian there.
And while we're being extra patriotic about it, the tremendous help we received from the French in general in order to be a country. So I guess I can give them this one.
Yeah. We got the Louisiana purchase. We'll give it to him.
That was pretty nice.
Oh,
yeah,
Razak's
so this
gonna,
is the case. He's going to punch that guy, and then he's going to move on to that token. Bring it back. Might be able to score Iron Grasp as well if he hasn't already.
We're going to have rerolls on both sides of this. There's a counter charge, I imagine.
Bats coming in to provide flanked.
This is a pretty decent defensive roll. It's a 2 on dodge with a reroll and flanked.
But that's 2 successes. That is not.
Any reroll into? This is nope.
It's not surrounded, so down goes the ghoul, who I believe does give up bounty.
Yep.
Grabby Hands is not slain yet, and then add.
And perhaps even bigger, getting a slide in.
Now with being able to use Duelist to take that token, presumably we'll delve it soon. Delving treasure back.
Whole lot of delving going on.
Pillage and Plunder, if you lean all the way into it, has a lot of different things like that. And keeping track of which number you've delved, how many times you've delved, were they treasures when they were delved, bookkeeping that I'll admit is beyond me.
Zack did point out he was in cover. And by Zack, I mean Rec was in. That was a delved treasure.
That's true. It was the cover side up. Players perhaps forgetting that does give the surrounded result as a success. Regardless, he would have been able to push that fighter off as a tied result and still occupy the token. So 1 bounty difference, but positionally should be a similar result.
Now, we'll see if that one makes a difference now that we're at 14 to 12. It could.
Kragmero standing right there, but Razak at full health. Kragan at full health. Look at me, doing it again. No, that is Razak. My apologies.
I've really got you on it now.
Zack does have a couple of minor conversions on his models. Razak's head is turned towards the center instead of the side. I'll admit. No, honestly, I was looking at the horns because the tokens are getting in the way of whether there's a shielder there or not. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
I'll work with it. So looking at this, Graham does have enough activations left to kill Razak here.
He also hasn't tried to go for Khagra, though. Again, basically disincentivized with all those upgrades and health tech.
Right.
Looking through each other's scored objective piles to see what there might be to draw, what there might be yet to see. Since this one is going to come down to kind of a tight finish.
I'll say, and then as a reminder for folks on the stream, we're not empowered to step in. You know, although we are confident, you know, in some of these things, like, oh, I think something got missed. If we were to like kind of step in, we would be wrong. We'd kind of be about it. We'd be disrupting it. It's really between the players. If we see something egregious,
to stream and not to influence the game.
Yeah. If there's something, you know, we were able to pause it one time when we saw a treasure token that had been set down too close, and even that, most of the deployment was done by the time we managed to get a judge over. So generally, we are we can raise a hand for a judge, but we're generally not. We're just letting the players do their thing.
As long as it doesn't look like anything's being done intentionally for foul play, I'm trying to stay out of it. Gristlewell making a charge here. Didn't need to make the charge.
That'd be Crack Marrow.
My apologies again. 1 success, and that is 2 failures.
All right.
Didn't even need the stagger reroll. Still got through. Driving him back off of that token. And pushing himself on.
Oh, he's got duelist.
Delving it back.
I see your duelist.
Presumably delving it back anyway. So we're seeing a little bit of that counterplay there.
I don't think, let's see. I'm not seeing another source of 2 damage.
I don't know that killing a fighter was his goal. I think it's
no.
I need that token on the cover side.
Yeah.
At least not having you hold it.
I will say there's something different about having your games recorded, and it's not that you make more mistakes, it's that there's a bunch of people to spot them. I've always said that I think if I recorded my own games, which I do sometimes for our audio bat reps, then I would just, you know, you kind of get put face to face with the errors that you make.
Focus action there, perhaps?
Say it again?
Zack may have taken a focus action there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's looking like focus. He dodged. Oh.
That confusion.
Picking up confusion. I wonder if there's a counter confusion here. Zach asking the math question, which I can already tell you we're probably not going to be able to answer. Is it better to delve and be in cover but staggered, or not be in cover or be not in cover and not
It's going to
staggered.
depend on the function of how many defense dice you have and how many attack dice your opponent has and whether they hit on swords or hammers. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a table answer to this, but there's not a single yes or no. It is better.
We're about to have to get up on our feet and expel the French from our area, but they're
I would
fading.
say about half of the French players in the hall have at some point come over here to express their thanks for the national score boost that we must have gotten out of there.
Graham's slowing things way down. He knows this is the opportunity to push it to game 3 or not, and he's
if he
all the
makes a
math out.
misplay here, then his match is over. So,
which hopefully that difference of the 1 glory is not going to come back for that 1 extra bounty. But again, that's absolutely something that happens. Most games, there's not a recording for you to.
I'm sure I have overgiven myself glory on accident before, and my opponent didn't notice, and I'm sure they've done it to me too.
This is a fighter must have picked up a range 2 attack somewhere. Oh yeah, it's sitting right there. Burrowing strike. 2 dice. Reroll for the stagger.
There's a crit.
Wow.
All right, Zack throwing 2 shield, and there's a crit and a success. Oh, Graham can't believe it.
I think a drive back is possible here if he wants it.
That was 2 bounty he doesn't get, and that token remains taken. Hands behind his back, Graham shaking his head. What more can a guy do, like I said earlier?
Yeah.
Five swords coming in here.
Grisselwell does not care.
I scoff at your arrogance.
Honestly, Kragan's heart wasn't in it because there wasn't any bounty involved.
Well, yeah, and the goal there was to score aggressive defender, which he gets. So, or Sally Forth, whichever card that is. Share the load. I don't know. It's 1 glory, whatever it was. Wreckers is scored in the end phase for 2. No, I apologize. That's not Wreckers.
So I think we're going to end 15-17.
Handshake there.
And so even with that 1 missed, it would be 15-16.
Didn't end up being difference maker there, yeah.
Wow, that was incredible.
Yeah, very tight game.
That was a consequential last miss there. That's 2 glory in the difference. We would have been down to tiebreakers.
Yes, had that burrowing strike hit, it'd be a different story. And I think both players know it.
What a great game.
Oh,
we're gonna let these guys talk it out, kind of hash it out. They're putting their scores into the judge. Pretty cool. 2 new war bands. Hope you guys enjoyed. We're gonna keep it up for a little bit. So Zach, I totally agree. Ghouls are totally possibly there to take it. They had their opportunities.
It did. A couple of dice rolls going differently either way could have changed things. I mean, both players did a lot of smart positioning, excellent upgrade use, sequencing of power abilities, leveraging their war scrolls. It's top level play. You're at Worlds. There's one thing I can say sure. It's a great day for America, Dave.
Yeah. I think I heard an eagle cry out a scream of pride as Zach crossed the finish line.
Somewhere over the raucous French crowd, a lone eagle shrieks in pleasure.
Zach, what I can hear from him is that I think he thinks his brain is about to pour out his nose.
Yes.
I don't
I mean,
think
he thought that before this match started. So whatever brain is left in there may have already left. But fortunately for Zach, this is the last match he has to play today. Final match of Pools round will happen tomorrow. And should he win that, he may have a shot at advancing to the top 16, which would be pretty exciting because I don't think a lot of people saw Khagra coming who got that advanced content. So take a look at it when it comes out tomorrow and pick up a box if you don't have it, because I think you're going to want to play this one.
I'm told there is I can't remember if it's a Spanish or Italian player, maybe Italian.
There's an Italian player playing Khagras as well, who apparently is doing quite well. So depending on how things go tomorrow morning, we may see 2 Khagras in the top 16, and there were only 2 Khagras in the event. So find out.
A big question is how much are Drom going to cannibalize each other right now that they're occupying the top.
It would be nice to see a couple of them.
Would like to just see a little more variety get into the top there, but it's been incredible. You know, I love seeing high level play, whatever play style they do. But it's warbands like Spike Claws or like Grymwatch here. Watching those played at that very highest level is pretty.
Really. When then our Canaans versus Razors game we featured earlier as well, that was a lot of positional, perhaps a little bit more aggressive than some other stances, but definitely where the fighters are on the board, when they are there, how you can do out of sequence pushes. These things do matter. The game is not just throw dice and win. This is still the same Underworlds we've had before, no less complicated, despite the fact that it has easier barrier to entry removal. We are looking at still a beautiful game.
I am going to bring up the schedule for tomorrow. We have a...
You don't want to misreport the starting time for the 3rd day in a row?
Only some of those were my faults. So we're going to take a look at this. We're going to let you know what the planned start time for tomorrow is. It was originally going to be only 2 matches tomorrow, but because of the logistical delays on the first day, there were only 2 rounds of pool play got played yesterday, which means one of them had to get pushed to tomorrow morning. So we'll have 1 round of pool play tomorrow, and then there will be the cut. You'll have top 8. You'll have 9 through 16, second 8. And then I think the other players are given the opportunity to continue to play it out.
They are, yeah. If you do not make the top 16 cut, you will be entered into, they call it the national bracket. So you're no longer competing for best general or whatever it is that they're calling it, where chance for being world champion. But you do still have the potential to win that bracket and give massive points to your national standing, which is, again, is across all 4 games. So we saw last year at Worlds, the Canadians did not do particularly well, those who made the top 8 cut. I think, like, for example, Damien, who was expected to do quite well, ended up 8th out of 8. We did get, you know, they did some things in the top 8 for sure. Did not win the overall thing, America did. But because of their performance in the undercard, for to say, that ended up giving them the national trophy overall. So
it feels good to be able to continue to like have that impact on your team score.
Even if you're at the bottom table, you can do something to help out your teammates, and there's always something to fight for every round. So that's still worth tuning in for.
Tomorrow is looking like same start time as today, so 8:30 local time. We can make that 1:30 in the afternoon UK time. So if you're looking to judge of that, depending on where in the world you are, we'll do a kind of a similar thing where we set up. We can't really start streaming until I'm ready to put the details in for what matchup it is.
We can't do that until they fire the pairings, which they don't do in advance, so the players can't research their opponent ahead of time, and everyone comes in with the same information state. So we'll let you know when we know, but it sounds like that's the time that we're going to be starting tomorrow, and you'll know who we're going to stream when it happens, and maybe we'll get a Yotharis for you guys.
And I'm glad we could show some new warbands. We got a listener here, Cabanas, thought that Khagra looked great, and I agree.
Khagra is looking great, though.
Brandon, you're going to have to tune in tomorrow to find out. Who can say?
Yeah. It's worth tuning in for, though, I promise.
When it's coming down to the cut and you're figuring out what pool you're going to be in, though, it's a good idea to don the eye of the tiger. Say that.
Recommended listening for today, tomorrow, and always.
All right, folks. We're going to drop the mics. We're going to get a little recovery. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit, be able to answer some questions, that sort of thing, if something pops up that way. But otherwise, it's been great casting, and thanks for coming and chatting with us. Thanks for helping us out. There's only so much we can do when we're trying to like keep the stream going, manage the French celebrations,
French invasion,
and so your help, you're part of this cast as well, giving us the information that we can spread out. So it's all part of our community, and it's awesome. All right.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks.